The naval base in Norfolk, Virginia, was usually a place of routine. Sailors followed strict schedules, and life moved with predictable precision. But today, something was different. A rumor spread like wildfire through the base. President Donald Trump was coming to visit the mess hall. Some sailors were excited. Others were skeptical. "What's he doing here?" a young sailor muttered as he adjusted his uniform. The kitchen staff worked double time, determined to serve the best meal they could. Around the base, debates broke out. Was this just a publicity stunt? Would the president make a quick speech and leave, or would he actually talk to them? Meanwhile, Cy Mercer, a 24-year-old Navy engineer, wasn't interested. She kept her head down, focused on her work. Politics had never been her concern. Just another day, she told herself, unaware that everything was about to change. Inside the mess hall, sailors lined up for their meals as nervous anticipation filled the air. Cooks moved frantically behind the counter, whispering about whether Trump would actually mingle with the troops. Cy sat at her usual table across from Chief Petty Officer Hank Reynolds, a 60-year-old veteran with decades of service. Unlike most, Hank was unimpressed. "Presidents come and go," he said, sipping his coffee. "We're the ones who keep the ship running." Cy nodded, her thoughts drifting to her father, a Navy veteran who had struggled after retirement. As much as she respected service, she often wondered whether the country truly cared once the uniform came off. Suddenly, the doors swung open. All eyes turned as President Donald Trump entered, flanked by Secret Service agents. But instead of heading toward a podium or a reserved VIP table, he grabbed a tray and stepped into the food line like everyone else. The mess hall fell silent. Was this really happening? Trump greeted the kitchen staff with a nod, picked up his food without ceremony, and spoke casually. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like dinner time." Some sailors smiled. Others watched cautiously. Cy simply observed. She had seen political visits before. None like this. Tray in hand, Trump scanned the room. His security team subtly gestured toward a reserved table, but he ignored them and walked straight toward Cy and Hank. "Mind if I join you?" Trump asked, already setting his tray down. Hank chuckled. "It's your country, Mr. President." Cy hesitated. Of all the tables, why there's... She nodded politely, unsure what to think. Around them, sailors whispered and stared. Trump picked up his fork. "So, what's for dinner?" "Same thing we always get," Hank replied with a smirk. Trump took a bite and nodded. "Not bad." His casual manner caught Cy off guard. This wasn't what she expected. Between bites of mashed potatoes, Trump looked around. "Tell me, what's the hardest part of serving?" Hank answered first. "Missing family." Several sailors nearby nodded. Long deployments, missed birthdays, and time away from loved ones weighed heavily on them. Cy hesitated, then spoke. "Feeling forgotten after we serve." The table went quiet. Trump set his fork down and looked at her. "What do you mean?" She took a breath. "My dad served for 22 years. When he retired, he couldn't find work. It was like the world just moved on without him." Trump leaned back, thoughtful. "That's not right." For the first time, Cy noticed something unexpected in his eyes. Genuine concern. "My dad gave everything to this country," she continued. "But once he was out, he felt abandoned." Hank nodded solemnly. "Happens to a lot of us, kid." Trump was silent for a moment. "What's your father's name?" "James Mercer, so." "And where's he now?" "Looking for a job." Trump tapped his fingers on the table. "That shouldn't be happening." He leaned toward an aide and whispered something. The aide nodded and quickly stepped away, phone already in hand. Trump turned back to Cy. "Tell your dad to expect a call soon." She frowned. "A call? From who?" Trump smiled slightly. "Let's just say, from someone who can help." The sailors exchanged puzzled glances. Hank raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Cy wasn't sure what to believe. She had heard promises before, words that led nowhere. But something about this felt different. This didn't feel rehearsed. She had no idea that one conversation over dinner would change her father's life forever. Trump continued eating, occasionally scanning the room. Sailors of all ranks sat together, laughing, sharing stories. This place reminds me of construction sites I used to visit, he said. Hard-working people doing the real work, rarely getting the credit. No veteran should struggle after serving, Trump added firmly. It's unacceptable. Hank chuckled. Been that way forever, sir. Trump's expression hardened. Then maybe it's time to change that. The words lingered in the air. As another aide pulled out his phone and began taking notes, Cy watched closely. Unlike most political visits, this one felt different. And somehow, she knew this wasn't just for show. Trump stood and faced the room, his voice steady and unforced. You serve your country with honor, and I respect that, he said. But it's not enough to just say thank you. You deserve action. A murmur rippled through the mess hall. No one had expected a speech, especially not one like this. I promise you, Trump continued, changes are coming. You will not be forgotten. Cy wanted to believe him, but years of watching veterans struggle had taught her caution. Still, there was something in the way he spoke, something sincere, that made her pause. The next morning, her father, James Mercer, received a phone call from an unfamiliar number. Mr. Mercer, a professional voice asked. Yes, James replied carefully. I'm calling from a defense contracting company. We've reviewed your service record and would like to offer you a position. James froze. How? How did you get my name? The president personally recommended you, the man said. James sat down slowly, his hands trembling. Months of rejection, resume after resume ignored. And now this. A job offer, out of nowhere. Cy called him as soon as she heard. Dad, what happened? His voice cracked. I got a job, Cy. A real job. She clutched the phone, barely able to breathe. It's with a government contractor, James explained. They want me overseeing logistics of military bases. Tears filled her eyes. Dad, that's incredible. James let out a shaky laugh. I never thought someone would actually help. Cy wiped her cheeks. I think I know who to thank. James wasn't the only veteran who received a call that week. Across the country, retired Navy personnel began hearing back from companies they'd applied to months earlier, some years earlier. At the base, sailors started noticing the pattern. Something's going on, Hank muttered one evening. Too many people getting calls. Cy nodded. She already knew. It's him. Quietly, Trump had launched an initiative to connect veterans directly with employers, cutting through the red tape that had stalled so many careers. This is different, Hank admitted. Politicians talk. This is real. For the first time in a long while, Cy felt hopeful, not just for her father, but for every veteran who had felt forgotten. A week later, she received an unexpected invitation to a closed-door meeting on base. When she entered the room, she was stunned to see Trump there, seated with military officials and defense contractors. He listened intently as officers discussed the challenges veterans faced. Cy stayed silent, unsure why she had been invited. Then Trump looked directly at her. Cy, tell them what you told me. Her throat tightened, but she spoke. Veterans struggle when they leave service. They shouldn't have to beg for jobs after sacrificing everything. Trump nodded. Exactly. And that's why we're fixing it. By the end of the meeting, it was clear this wasn't just talk. Change was already in motion. As people filed out, Trump pulled her aside. You know, he said, I wasn't always a politician. I've built businesses, made deals. But this, he gestured toward the base, this is the most important deal I'll ever make. Cy studied him. Why do you care so much? His expression softened. Because I've seen too many good men and women left behind. That's not how we treat our heroes. Whatever her political views, she couldn't deny what she had witnessed. I hope you keep pushing, Trump added. This country needs people like you. For the first time, Cy felt her voice truly mattered. In the weeks that followed, something shifted at the base. Every Friday during dinner, a veteran success story was shared. A sailor who started a business, a former Marine who became a firefighter, a Navy veteran like Cy's father who finally found stability. Morale soared. Sailors no longer feared the future after service. They saw proof that life after the uniform could be strong. This all started with one dinner. Hank said one night. Cy smiled. One dinner and a promise. A few weeks later, she received a formal letter from the White House. Inside was a handwritten note. Cy, your father's story opened my eyes. I promise to make a change, and I intend to keep it. Thank you for serving with honor. Donald J. Trump. She framed it and hung it on her wall, not as a political symbol, but as proof that one conversation could matter. Inspired, Cy started a program on base to help sailors prepare for civilian life, resume workshops, interview training, and connections to veteran-friendly employers. Small steps. Big impact. Hank watched her work with pride. You're becoming a leader, Mercer. She smiled. I learned from the best. Years later, standing before a new class of recruits, Cy shared a lesson she carried with her. No matter who's in charge, she said, remember this, your service matters, and people will fight for you. She had become a voice for veterans, ensuring no one was forgotten, and it all began with a simple meal in a Navy mess hall.